All right. I'm going to just do a walkthrough on the RX side of the Sun SDR2DX and what I've been working on. I've got a nice system running, noise reduction system on the front end to compensate for the lack of an agc-t, as we all know, and I harp on this. The Sun SDR2DX does not have what I would call a true agc-t. It's an RF gain. That's it. If it was a true agc-t, you'd have threshold, slope, all kinds of adjustments on this slider right here. So you can never really get it quiet. Now the noise reduction on the Sun, crap, it's nothing but a low pass filter. Basically it wipes out all the top end of the audio. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I was thinking there's got to be a better way, and there is. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how to put this together. So the first thing I'm going to show you is, I'm just going to touch on this. I had a latency issue with mixing and matching drivers. Now I was bringing my audio in to all VAC, well, into the sound card. I shouldn't say VAC, but into the sound card, and it was passed virtually back and forth to the Sun, or to the Sun. I'm talking about TX audio. So what I did was I go in and I set this to unused, the microphone, and if we go up here to what I'm doing is I'm bringing, I have a Heil cable. It has an RJ45 that plugs into mic 2, which is set up for a dynamic mic, and and that goes to a 3-pin XLR on the other end, and I plug that into the end of the rack, the physical rack. So I'm on the rack on TX now. So the latency is extremely minimal, right? But when I was running with the same system before and I was coming in virtually, it induced, because you can't share ASIO drivers, remember? And in the Sun, even though you have multiple cards running on ASIO drivers, even if it's a different card, the sound card will not work if you run on ASIO on both. So I'd have to run on a Windows driver, and there was some kind of weird conflict, and the latency was horrid, absolutely horrid. I solved that, so this is how you solve it. So the output of the sound card I have set to what I call the middleman. This basically does a handshake handoff of the audio coming from the Sun. This goes to an ASIO-driven middleman card, which is a Behringer UM2. I just picked up. They're about $45, worth every penny. And I'll show you a picture of that. So let's get over to wrong one. Okay, this is the UM2 right here. So this is a little $45 card. So this one on the top. So this, let me get that out of there. So that card is where all of this information is going. All right, so just keep that in the back of your head. So on the TX side, I bring my audio into this mic 2. I do not enable mic agc, and I'll get into that coming up this Sunday. I'm going to show you exactly how I got all that set up. It's kind of irrelevant for now because we're talking about the RX side. Okay, so let me get over to my board. So I will show you what's going on, how I have everything put together. All right. So the Sun SDR2DX, the RX side, remember I have a set to come out. It's putting audio to the UM2 card. And now what I do is now the UM2 has RCA outs on the back, kind of annoying. So I built up a cable, made a cable, an RCA to 1/4 inch. tip sleeve, mono 1/4 inch. So I come out a channel of the UM2, and in my case it's I can't remember, I think it's left channel or right channel, but I'll get into that in a moment. You only need one channel coming out of the UM2. That comes out analog into input 2 of the Mackie. Now the Mackie is the card set up on the DAW. All right, that's what the DAW uses to process the RX audio. So that comes into input 2, and then the DAW uses the Mackie for RX audio processing. And you can plug your speakers in your headphones into the Mackie card. That becomes your primary station card, okay? So remember, the TX audio is coming in using a Heil cable with the RJ45, and this can be done with any rig, not just the Sun. You just need the correct cable connectors to input the audio. All right, and again, I'm not going to get into the TX side of the equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demo it quick for you. Really quick, I did want to go over this. So in your DAW, you want to set your DAW up to use that second card. That's your primary station card. And I have selected, remember, it comes into input 2 of the Mackie. So in my channel strip, come in, analog 2, and so the input strip is listening to input 2 on the Mackie card. So that's where it's getting the audio from. All right. And then, of course, that goes over to the master. I have it set to master, and on the master out, I have it set to the analog 1 and 2 on the card. Now, if you notice, I have this panned all the way off to the right. You technically don't need to do this, but I have another system running. You could leave the pan right in the center if you wanted to, and it will put audio out both sides of the output, but I'm only using one side of the output. And if I run the DAW on TX, my other channel strip is panned over to the left, and I can feed audio out to wherever I want to go coming out of the other side of the output. All right, so what I have in the chain here as far as audio processing on RX, I use a multiband limiter, and these are the specific plugins I use. They are Dynamite. I believe they're only for Windows. They're Reaper plugins. Comes in a package. I will have this information up on the website. And this is basically set up as noise reduction. So if you go in here, you want the mode. Both of these plugins right here are the same plugins. They're just designed to do two different things. So this is set up on subtract, and what you do is you set and it's a multi-band noise reduction system. So you can put in as many frequencies as you want, and you set basically a threshold. And when there's no audio coming through, it almost acts sort of like a gate, but you can also almost use this as an EQ, right? So, but I'm not going to go into that. So this is set. You can see the signal that is on the pan adapter right now is coming in there, and anywhere you see basically these frequencies above this threshold, this red line, this is applying the noise reduction to them. All right, I can lower this down a little bit. You want these to go up above here, but there's a threshold. So in this threshold, once you get this set, this all is controlled via RF gain on the radio. That's it. You shouldn't have to touch any of this stuff. So that's the noise reduction. So I have the limiter, noise reduction, then I have a gate. So this is set up as a gate, right? So you select gate here. This is your gate floor. So this is kind of an important adjustment. You can fuss with this a little bit. And then what I do to kind of tidy things up at the end, because it does affect the audio a little bit, I apply a little bit of EQ especially in the top end, just to get that brightness back, the articulation back on the audio I'm listening to. Is it necessary? No. But the reason why I have this put in at the end is that I don't want this to be hitting the noise reduction. I want this to correct everything that's happening ahead of it with a noise reduction and all the other stuff. So that's the reason why I do that. And you could use any EQ plugin, as long as it does what you need it to do. So there is one other thing. What I did was on the Sun, I set up the RX-EQ. So if I click on this, I set this up to make a little bit of a correction. And this is hitting the rack. But I found it does help a little bit, especially with signals. This is more of a corrective, preemptive strike on guys with audio that are kind of muddy, because the noise reduction may make it a little bit muddier. So I can just bring this in and out at will just by clicking this in and out. So anyways, what I'm going to do is do a quick demo of this, and then I'll be closing down. So you get on a frequency here, see what's going on. I'll unmute it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle this rack, the noise reduction, in and out all at once with the bypass button. So let me get this on.
You guys see that moving carrier?
Oh, you want to stay indoors. I'm getting too old to be out there in that cold like that. I like to be warm. But anyway, back to whoever gets it. Enter my arm.
Okay, I'll jump in real quick, Bill. WA2TSM. Yes, I was telling the guys here earlier. I was watching the New York news this morning, and
okay, so I'm
had live coverage from.
I'm going to toggle this.
New York City, Long Island.
Noise reduction off.
And yeah, that's Long Island one. The girl.
Off.
She was standing
on
the LIE, and even looked like
off.
You couldn't even tell it was the LIE. They had
on.
looked like quite a bit up there so far, and then the live
on.
from Boston.
I mean off. This is off.
Going on with the I guess
on.
The tides and everything. Water was coming over the wall. Streets flooded, so that.
See how the audio jumps right out at you? Now, you do hear the artifacting in there if you're listening in headphones. You can crack the RF gain open even more. What it does is the noise will come back in a little bit, but boy, it pulls the audio right up out of the mud. Let me get back here. And what happens is the limiter engages on strong signals, preventing you from, blowing your speakers up and blowing your headphones off your head. So let me get back here. I'll do some more toggling and playing, and you can listen to what it does.
Cold out here. Got up this morning. It was 3
off.
degrees. Going for a high of 18
on.
Today. So really, the main thing out here has been
off.
Been the cold. And but looks like we're
on.
going to get a break here next week. Probably
off.
On Tuesday. Looks like about 3 days. We're going to be mid upper 40s.
On.
But that's going to be short-lived. And then next weekend looks like we're dipping back down to the low mid 20s again.
Yep, for a few years things did change a little different there. But yeah, I'm not using any outboard antenna tuner here. I'm going to have to see
off.
If these wire antennas will
That's off. That's the native front end of the Sun.
It's a Mosley TA33, and it works. It's a 2015.
On.
And I have one of these MFJ antenna analyzers, and I was tweaking around some of the
off.
Frequencies. Well, especially
this is off.
15 meters, and I thought maybe, I would find a spot where it would resonate. But it never did. Never could find a place where it resonate on 18 megacycles. So, but I do believe they Mosley makes that on elements. So if you want to, do some operating on the work bands, I think you can by elements that you can put on the boom there. So that's one thing nice about Mosley. They do have a nice, it's a really well-built antenna.
That's off.
And they do make elements. If you want to work some of the other bands, you could stick it on there. But
on.
I'm not really interested, really. I work 20 meters quite a lot, and 15 and 10 when I hear some openings. I usually hear a fair amount of activity on 15 meters, but
on.
Still kind of dead. So I don't think we have a whole lot to promise on this solar cycle coming up here. We should be really getting into it, but it's not really doing too much of anything. So they get a few sunspots here and there, and they kind of disappear. So it doesn't look too promising for sure. But 20's always been good. You know, I've always been able to get on there. I hear a lot of European stations come through, but like I said, I've worked mostly all the countries over there, and like I said, it's it's not that you can have a conversation with most of them, so it's pretty much cut and dry. And I was going to say about the 30L1, the 572B would be a replacement for the 811.
That's off.
And it's a better tube.
On.
So I don't know where they're made. I looked on the DX Engineering, and they have the 572Bs there for sale, and they're about $50 a piece.
Off.
Yeah, $50 a piece. So which isn't too bad for a tube, but when you think about it, you're gonna have to spend $200.
Okay, so that gives you kind of an idea of what it does. I mean, it is phenomenal. It's actually better than the Anon. I think I don't know. I think it's got a little bit more artifacting than the Apache on NR2, running NR2, but man, it is quiet. I love it personally. This completely. I was going to sell this rig just because of the front end. I love the receiver on it, but it's a noise monster. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. And this completely changes the game. I'm going to listen one more time.
Keeps on going up and up all the time. Except that the 7300, it's still a pretty decent price. I think with a rebate on it, you can still pick it up for.
There were two really weak QRP stations. See if you can hear them. I'm going to get one more call for QRP. Hi, Todd.
Hello, you guys are coming up here. I was talking to the Y-Star, wasn't fully paying attention. D was finally coming up to over 20 over. So you guys, the band's finally starting to wake up for me.
Oh yeah, it's shortening up real good.
Hey Todd, this is Doug in Long Island. I got you 5 and 8.
Hey, very good, Doug. Same to you. Nice to meet you, bud.
Off.
Yeah,
this is off.
Sounding good.
Yeah, you guys should start smelling the French toast really soon.
I made fresh bread this morning, Brian.
On.
It just smell good.
My wife's got a corned beef in the crock pot.
Speaking of that, I'll be back. Kilo 1 whiskey, India Lima.
Off. Oh.
Victor.
Hey, it just stomped on a QRP station. How is that helpful? Let's wait until we make a call.
On.
Okay, very good, Albany. No snow yet, but it's coming.
Off.
Let's see. Jeff, who was the other one you heard?
Charlie Uniform.
Okay, Charlie Uniform, come on in. Charlie Uniform QRP?
Okay.
That's not a very, it's not a very big, heavy antenna, but it works very well. So I guess depending on how big of an antenna you're getting, you have to see
Off.
What kind of rotor would you'd want to use for that particular antenna?
Off.
I'm not sure of the specs on this rotor here. Like I said, it's a very old rotor. The only thing I did to was take it.
I was on earlier for a couple hours. I think the band shifted every half hour.
Off.
You're exactly right, because I was barely able to copy anybody probably 30 minutes, 45 minutes ago, and all of a sudden everybody came up and
off,
and then they go back down for a little bit. So it's a
on.
very volatile band right now.
Yeah. What
off.
transceiver you running?
On.
This is the 7000 DLE
Off.
Mark II.
I thought so. Very clean. I'm on a Sun SDR2DX.
On.
And all virtual audio. Everything's processed in Logic Pro.
Is that the black-faced one?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the blue ones, are they the Mark II or not?
Off.
The blue ones are actually, that's the 200.
On.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're the regular, I think the Mark.
Okay, so there you go. That's it in a nutshell. And make of it what you will. I flippin' love it, man. Next stage is to get it going on the front end of a conventional radio like a 7300. Should be quick and painless, and I'll be putting information up on the site regarding that. 7.3, have fun, you guys. We will catch you later.